How to find private money for real estate investing. Think private lenders are hiding? Well, they're everywhere. You just need to know where to look. The best source for capital is not a bank. It's regular people just sitting on cash. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find private lenders to fund your deals. You'll discover practical strategies to find private money lenders, even if you're just starting out. But Glenn, I don't know anybody that has any money. Well, I guarantee you that you do. You just don't know it yet. The people in your circle that look like they have money usually don't. And the ones that have money many times do and just don't tell you about it. And that's okay. We're trying to sniff them out and find out who has some money they want to invest. So I want you to start with your family and your friends. Make a list of everybody that you know. I'm going to tell you what to do with them in just a second. But don't discount anybody because you don't know who has money. And it's not just them having money, it's who they know that have money. And I'm going to show you how to use them as referral sources to go out and find people for you in this video. The first thing you may have to do is educate them on what a private lender is and how they can partner with you in your business and get higher returns than they're currently getting if their money is sitting in the bank or in an investment account that they don't like the ups and downs of the stock market, the roller coaster. You may have to educate them on how they can get access to money. For instance, did you know that if someone has an IRA, they can convert that to what's called a self-directed IRA. If you don't know what that is, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of descriptions and videos about what that is and how they can convert their money to a self-directed IRA, and it becomes just that. Instead of having a broker direct people's money to be in the stock market, they can self-direct those investments to anything they want. It could be private loans, it could be to a restaurant, it could be to a business, it could be to buy a laundromat, or it could be to fund your real estate deals. Now, there are third-party fiduciary companies that help them do that to keep them compliant. And those are very easy to find online. I can also recommend them to you if you want to. Hit me a message. I'd be happy to tell you who we recommend. That's how you can educate people on how they can become a private lender with you. If you know Amber's in my story, Amber's my wife and my business partner. Our story is the very first private lender we ever got was back in 2008 when we were forced into a corner and we had to find a private lender or we're going to lose a deal. And we found it by having a good friend of ours who was at the gym, and she said, "Boy, I'd love to be an investor with you guys and help you out. I just don't have any money." To which I said, "You have a really nice house. You guys do a lot of work on your house. You must have equity." She said, "Oh yeah, we have a couple $100,000 in equity." I said, "Do you have access to it?" She said, "I do. Why?" I said, "What if you loaned me money from your home equity line of credit at 4% and I paid you 14% to borrow the money? So you'd make 10% on money that wasn't even yours." And she said, "I like that idea." And here we are this many years later, and do you know, she is still a private lender for us and now has close to $1 million with us from all different other sources in her life because I took the time to educate her on how she could use a line of credit to be a private lender with ours. So get good at educating people how they can be a private lender for you. The biggest thing here is I recommend that you do not ask your family and friends for money. Don't be that person. Instead, I want you to use our method. And really simply, our method is to put together a professional packet, just a few pages that shows your business plan, what you want to do. If you have a house under contract, by all means, show that house and show how much interest you want to pay people. Send that package out in a professional way. In other words, don't use the regular mail. Use Federal Express. You know why? Everybody opens the FedEx package, don't they? Spend the extra $30 or $40 and send out a packet that says, "Here's what I'm looking for my private lenders. I am a real estate investor now. And by the way, do you know anybody?" In other words, you're not asking them for money. You're saying, "Who do you know? And if you know somebody and they invest with me, I'm happy to pay you a 1% finder's fee on whatever they invest with me." You see, the simple act of asking them who they know takes the pressure off your relationship and it allows them to think clearly. And I promise you, from a lot of experience, the ones who have the money will say, "Well, what about me?" They almost refer themselves. And that starts a great conversation where you can say, "Well, I don't know, what about you? Let's talk about it." And you can start to educate them on how they can be a private lender for you. In that packet, you'll tell them about all the security you provide for them, how you can provide a mortgage and a note that they can file at the local county courthouse so that if you default, they can foreclose on you. Not that you want them to or they're going to, but they have to know they have protection like a bank does. You're also going to show them how they are going to be listed as an additional insured on your insurance policy in case any major catastrophe happens. They'll be covered there as well and be the first ones to be paid out. There's something weird about our psychology, isn't it, when someone offers us something for free or someone asks us to take something from them? If you're walking through a mall and somebody walks out and gives you a packet of perfume, what's the first thing you say? No. No thanks. It could be a brick of gold, but we say no. So you don't want to ask people about borrowing money from them. You want to ask about who they know. Let me tell you another funny story. One time my wife and I were at the fair with our kids, and I bought a simple pass. It was like $5 for my children to go into a little fun house. Well, my son walked in and decided he didn't like that fun house. He wanted no part of that fun house. So I walked out. I tried to give that $5 pass to several moms. And several of them said, no, thank you. No, thank you. I said, no, I have a pass. I just paid for this. No, thank you. I was trying to give them a $5 pass for their kid. And finally, a woman said, okay, thank you. I said, oh, good. Someone will finally put this to use. She put it in her pocket and she walked away and never went in the fun house. And I thought to myself, that shows why we don't ask people for things like asking them for money. You ask them who they know, it'll put their brain into a different spot where they're thinking about who they know instead of thinking about themselves. Now, you'll see people say, listen, you can go to local RIAs and local meetups for real estate investors and you'll find private lenders there. Yeah, you might. But the odds are you're going to find more of a savvy lender there that's going to want more fees and charge you more money. And I think you're going to do a lot better to find people in your own local circle first. You can go to local events and there will be private lenders there. But remember, they've been doing it for a living for a long time, and the more private lenders kind of learn how much they can make, the more they're going to charge for that type of lending, especially if you have no idea who they are. There's zero trust built with you yet. So start with people that you know, like, and trust, because they know and like and trust you. The biggest piece of advice I can give you is dig your well before you're thirsty. What I mean is, don't wait until you have a deal to go out and find private lenders. Get those packets put together and send them out now to plant the seeds so that in 3 days, so that in a week or 2 weeks or 3 months later when you find your first hot deal, they now have some idea of what you're doing. So when you present them with an actual packet and say, hey, remember I sent you that packet? I'm actually looking for a deal now. Here's the deal that I have. Here's how much an investor can make if they invest this much money with me. Do you know anybody? Now they've already had the seeds planted well in advance, so they're ready and more willing to hear what you have to say at that point. So dig your well before you're thirsty, not when you are very thirsty, because you'll come off very desperate looking for money at that point. What I've always done in the past that has really helped me be successful in this arena is to just ask that new private lender to try one deal with me. Our minimum is $100,000. And I suggest you have a minimum as well. It just makes you sound like you know what you're talking about. And so our minimum was $100,000 to invest with us to get started. And I would say, look, just try us out for one deal. If you like it and everything goes well for you, then consider the next deal. Very simple. If you like it, great. If you don't, I'll appreciate you trying. That removes some pressure and also gives them a deadline so they can see that it's not for the rest of time. It's just for a finite amount of time. And if you take the pressure off of them, I think you'll find a lot of people will say, all right, I'll give you a shot for one deal. And the bottom line is, if you do that deal well and you pay them back as promised, you'll probably have a private investor for life. Private money is easy once you know what you're shopping for. Go watch the next video, the crucial step that new investors always miss, where I'm going to help you define your buy box. So when you show up to a private lender meeting in any way, shape, or form, you look like a professional out of the gates. The link is right here in the description below. Go check it out now.